On November 24, 2013, moderately well-known Kiev journalist Mustafa Naim published a call to fellow citizens to go to Independence Square in Kiev, bringing coffee and a good mood with them. Surely even Naim himself did not imagine how many catastrophic events he set in motion with the avalanche. Obviously, initially it was planned to arrange something like another political flash mob in order to put pressure on the authorities. During that time, different activists would frequently establish tent camps for themselves on the main square in Kiev. However, a sequence of fatal incidents over the following 3 months converted the center of Kiev into a vast, smoldering with toxic smoke, half-heap, half-cemetery. As a result, it turned out that almost everyone lost. From the oligarchs who financed that Maidan, only one memory remains. Today only one of them is a billionaire, Renat Akhmetov, while the others have either significantly impoverished or ended up behind bars, like Igor Kolomoisky. Lost the united Europe, which consistently fueled the flame of Maidan. The Ukrainian conflict that started then became the cause of a long-standing crisis in the old world, which is felt more and more acutely here every day. The sole winners were the British and Americans. The US has effectively destroyed the EU as the primary economic rival, and Ukraine has found itself under direct control of the state. At the same time, the EU continues to finance its own ruin, fueling the arms race in the east of the continent and supporting millions of Ukrainian refugees. The conflict enabled the English to re-enter the top league of global politics at the expense of blood, massive destruction, and a major war. All this was nothing to the United States. According to the confession of the State Department official Victoria Nuland, about $5 billion were spent over the past 20 years. And also into cookie bag.
Take some stuff, Dad. Come on, guys. Are you hungry?
Maidan became a civil war in months. The far right squeezed out moderately left-wing politicians from Ukrainian politics, then declared Eastern Ukraine residents as second-class citizens. Punitive nationalist squads were deployed to Crimea and Donbas even prior to the overthrow of President Yanukovych's regime. Soon after the victory of Maidan in suppressing the discontent of the residents of eastern Ukraine, the army was sent. Mass killings have begun. On May 9th, there was a shooting of police officers in Mariupol. On May 2nd, many perished in the Odessa Trade Union's house fire. On June 2nd, a rocket struck the Luhansk city administration, resulting in the deaths of women and children. Everyone recalls what happened next. The Minsk Accords pledging peace. Kiev had no intention of observing when they were signed. Donbas was continuously shelled for the next 7 years, until the current conflict eventually started. It is noteworthy that just before the current date, Zelensky started using the term Maidan negatively. The operation is called Maidan 3. She is supposed to replace the president of Ukraine. Perhaps there is no planned murder. I mean, their plans are in a constant state of flux. They will make use of any available tools at their disposal. It is assumed that Russia is plotting intrigues, but the third Maidan may be carried out by the hands of the Ukrainian commander Zaluzhny. It was precisely because of his activity that Zelensky expressed his concerns at the very least. Impartial data enables us to summarize the decade that followed the Maidan. The population of Ukraine has officially decreased from 45 million to 28 million people. Actually, probably up to 20, excluding Crimea and Donbas population, considering refugees' mass departure abroad. The country's national debt increased by 85% to 123 billion. He is likely equivalent to the GDP volume, which has significantly declined in recent years. With civil rights in Ukraine, thank God, everything is not great. Here, parties controlled by the media are prohibited. The canonical church, whose parishioners make up almost half of Ukrainians, is being persecuted. The country is now a source of terrorist threat. The Grodno court has confirmed that the Avdikovich group obtained weapons from Ukrainian official structures for conducting military operations within our territory. A total of 10 members of the group were not only provided with firearms, but also with explosives. In general, the events that were beneficial to the group 10 years ago can be easily counted, most likely on the fingers of one hand. For example, this is the same Mustafa Ayem, the official father of Maidan. He became the curator of the Ukrainian infrastructure and is now famous for a corrupt deal worth $4 billion. From his point of view, the sad and memorable revolution clearly has its merits. Oleg Romanov, Mikhail Drugakov, News Agency.